Каждый вторник в 12:10 один из самых известных раввинов нашего времени, Манис Фридман, в прямом эфире отвечает на вопросы наших слушателей. Вы услышите мнение самой мудрой книги человечества – Библии, о самых сложных проблемах, стоящих перед современным миром. Присылайте ваши вопросы заранее на наш имейл info@rusa.fm или во время передачи по СМС 347 460 08 77.
Добрый день всем, кто сейчас настроен на радио USA. Мы находимся прямо вот в минутах от Нового года, который так все ожидают, надеются, что этот 2025 будет счастливым, здоровым, мирным, принесет много радостей. И все в таком праздничном, приподнятом настроении и с такой надеждой ждут 12 часов. И хотелось бы сегодня, так как сегодня вторник, и мы всегда по вторникам, по крайней мере, я говорю «Thank God it's Tuesday», потому что у нас есть шанс пообщаться с самым мудрым раввином нашего времени, светлым, добрым, который уделяет нам это время, и уделяет нам он это время и сегодня, узнать, правильно ли мы настроены, ждать совершенно чего-то другого, ждать чуда, ждать позитива, ждать хороших изменений. И вообще, какой вот, по его мнению, должен быть вот этот наш следующий 2025? Вот с этим вопросом я сразу же обращаюсь к раввину Манису Фридману. Rabbi Manis Friedman, hello, thank God it's Tuesday. And this particular Tuesday is the last Tuesday and the last day of the 2024. Thank God. We are very excited. The whole world is excited in hopes that 2025 is going to bring magic. It's going to be great. It's going to do it's going to bring good news. People are hopeful. And the question is, are we right to be hopeful? Does the calendar change of the year at midnight bring new energy into the world, bring new hope into the world? Does it do that? And what kind of year are we going to have? What can we hope for, expect, look forward to? In your opinion, of course.
We always look forward. And forward means improved. Otherwise, it's backward, not forward. So, yeah, we always look forward. There's always goodness coming, and the world gets better every day. The question is, when are we going to get smart and notice the goodness and appreciate the goodness and stop being distracted by all the fake news and the bad news and the evil news? Now, when we have a good excuse, then we can be even more optimistic. So we always find an excuse. Even in the secular world, the new year means good news. Why? Because it's a new year? It's just the day after today. What exactly makes it a new year? What is a year anyway? It's just another day after the previous day. So the previous day was not good, but the next day, oh, it's going to be good. It's an amazing optimism that people have, which is completely justified. I mean, the alternative is not good at all. So yeah, we're always optimistic because the world moves in one direction, and that is good. And even when it seems to be getting darker and worse and uglier and nastier, that's all part of the healing crisis. We don't appreciate healing crisis. Even medically, when the healing crisis starts, the doctors intervene and stop the crisis, which means they stop the healing. sometimes. So we have to know what is deterioration and what is healing crisis. So we've been saying now for 3-4 years, what's going on is a healing crisis. Because you got to get all the toxins out. You got to get the poison out. You have to lance the boil and let it all empty with all of its ugly, distasteful stuff. But it's got to come out. It got into us when Adam and Chava ate from the tree of knowledge. We absorbed it, we digested it, we became it. Now we got to get rid of it. So it's got to come out the same way it went in. You got to spit it out. And that's what's happening. That's exactly what's happening. The shift. Look, everything that has happened in the last 3 years came by surprise. No one predicted it. Look at how people have turned against Obama, against the Clintons, against Biden's. Somebody was playing a clip. A couple of years ago, someone was saying that Joe Biden's face should be included or added to Mount Rushmore. You know? He is the greatest of the presidents, and he should be added to... Now, they want his name erased from our history. The same people. It's crazy. So things are happening very rapidly. Every week it's a whole new world. The painful stuff, I don't know. I don't know. A healing crisis is a good thing, but it's supposed to happen quick, not drag like this one. So, I don't know. Are we just becoming very impatient, or is it taking too long?
Yeah, I don't know either. And I also don't understand how the tables can turn the way how they have been turning. You know, one is on top, then it's way on the bottom. Then how is it possible? Has it ever been like that? I mean, this is pretty fast. 3 years to go from the top of the world to the bottom of the barrel is extremely, extremely quick. But that's not the quick change that we're looking for.
Yeah, and it's not quick enough. Anything that takes a year is way too long in today's world. You know, it's very, very disturbing that a soldier died yesterday in Gaza. Gaza? I thought that was over. We're still fighting Gaza? Why? How come? I don't know. I don't know. And why are there miracles happening with the rockets and the drones and the attacks, miracle after miracle? And when it comes to the soldiers in Gaza, like, I'm sure there are miracles happening, but there are also tragedies happening. Why? Maybe because we shouldn't be going into houses that are booby-trapped. Just we shouldn't be doing it.
Rabbi Fridman, in one of your podcasts this week, you said something that really struck a nerve. You know, we keep on asking ourselves, what can we do to make the world better? And you said very clearly, you know the answer to that. Why do you keep on asking that question? And I think that pretty much pertains to everything today. But we're still asking this question. Why are we asking this question?
I always think that the solution lies somewhere far away, somewhere just beyond reach. And if somebody could just reach there, then we'll have. It's not there, and it's not far. It's completely in our hands to do what we know we should do. And you don't think that'll change the world? Of course it'll change the world. So, the theme of Hanukkah. The Hellenists, the Greeks, came into Israel not to kill, not to destroy, not to enslave, just to add a little influence to our thinking and our beliefs and our lifestyle, which they thought was doing us a really big favor. They were giving us a gift, the gift of Hellenism. And when you refuse their gift, they get very upset. Then suddenly it's not a gift, it's a demand. And then it's not only a demand, it's a decree. And then if you don't listen, your head gets chopped off. And that's how it usually works. What was their gift? What were they suggesting? They were saying, human beings are the greatest thing in the world. There is nothing greater than a human being. Kind of the opposite of what Nazis said. We have to get rid of the damaged and create a super race. The Greeks said, we are a super race. Human beings are super. The greatest, the highest. And anything you do that diminishes the dignity of the human being is forbidden. You can't do that. The human being is untouchable. So if you want to maintain your culture, by all means, be Jewish, do Jewish things, live a Jewish life. Just stop with the ridiculous stuff. It's beneath human dignity to do things and not even know why you're doing it. It's embarrassing. Come on. Don't do that to yourself. So the commandments that make sense, they're beautiful. Beautiful. Torah is full of wisdom. Study it. No problem. But get rid of that voodoo nonsense. Get rid of the stuff that you can't explain, because that's degrading. Admitting that there's something greater than yourself is wrong. There's nothing greater than you. Pretty appealing message. Today they call it good self-image. You have to have a good self-image, a high self-image. Well, they went for a high self-image back then. So that's basically what they were saying. You don't need to be anything more than human, because human is the top. Eventually it deteriorated, not so much the human, just the body. Body is beautiful, the body, you worship the body, you make statues of bodies, and it deteriorated until they became extinct. Of course, we didn't buy it. We didn't buy it. Not because we have a deep belief in God, but because we have more respect for the human being. The human being doesn't want to be human and doesn't think that being human is perfect. The human being wants to be something more than human, a little divine. Everything else in creation is just a creation. The human being wants to be part creator. And that's the responsibility that God gave us. Be a co-creator, a partner in creation. Don't just be the taker, be a giver. Don't just be the recipient, be the blessing. So we wouldn't settle for sensible, reasonable, rational. Every human being is sensible, reasonable. Well, not every human being, but it's only human to be reasonable and sensible. It's not enough. It's nice. It's a good place to start. It's a lot better than being unreasonable and unsensible. But it's not enough. So this is the struggle today as well. There are those who say, you're the human being, you can do whatever you want, no one can tell you what to do. No one. Not even God. The antidote today is the same as it was then. No compromise. No compromise. We can use oil that's been contaminated. We can. And if we used it, we would fulfill the mitzvah of lighting the menorah. There would be no problem. But it's a bit of a compromise. We're letting them dictate. And we can't afford to do that even in the most subtle way. So when Israel says, we live by the Geneva Convention, not good. Not good. That's Hellenistic. Who made up the rules at the Geneva Conference? Great sages? No, a bunch of nations who had participated in the Holocaust just a few years earlier. And these people are going to tell us what is moral and what is right and what is decent. They're going to tell us what is godly. Can't do that. Can't let that happen. The Geneva Conference does not dictate morality. It's Hellenism. It's human beings believing that after they pull off a Holocaust, they can now dictate what's right and what's wrong. It's ironic. It's a chutzpah. You just participated in a Holocaust. Can you sit quietly and let us tell you what is right? You have the arrogance to say you know what is right? It's just terrible chutzpah.
Rabbi Fridman.
That's what the Maccabees were fighting.
Well, the scariest thing that we have witnessed is when the society took, just recently, I'm talking about last year, when the society took the side of those who
Hamas.
murdered. Yes. And that was the scariest thing on earth in our day and age. The fact that Hamas did what they did, that's to be expected. This is in the making. The fact that the world protected their rights over being appalled to what they did, that was beyond scary.
Yeah. There's another chutzpah. When the presidents of universities were asked whether they could condemn what happened October 7th, their answer was, you have to put things in context. Depends on the context. That is very wise. But the chutzpah is, they think they know what the context is. When it comes to Israel, there's no context. There's no context. You're killing babies. That's what happens in a war. Can we look at the context? No. No, you killed a baby. So all of a sudden, there's no context. There should be context, but by people who know what they're talking about. So things out of context is always going to be wrong. So at least apply it equally to both sides. And before you decide what the context is, educate yourself. Don't go by what's popular. Don't go by your instincts, because human instincts are not always good. So it's the same thing. Stop worshiping your own impressions. It used to be the philosopher got all the respect. Who gets all the respect now? Whoever lies best.
My answer was going to be rappers, but that's going out of style too. That was just a little while ago.
Whoever distorts the most gets all the respect. If you believe that a man can be pregnant, whoa, you get a lot of respect. Should we just sit back and let this happen?
Rabbi Friedman, I have to say, you're always very positive and optimistic, and you give us that definite burst of energy, and we're beyond grateful for it. But I have to say, on one hand, yes, this optimism of the fact that we're changing calendars, going into a new, hopefully a new, better year of opportunities. At the same time, it is so scary, because every time you have this optimism and you're like, oh, this is going to be the greatest year ever, and I'm sorry, but sometimes not even a few weeks down the line, sometimes a day or two or three down the line, there's bad news, and your hopes and your optimism is shattered, and then you have to pick up the pieces and go forward and find that strength to keep on living with joy and happiness and co-creating and believing, and so we're all in this kind of like stage right now that sometimes it's really, really, really hard to push forward these days. I don't know if you know what I mean.
So that's where the wisdom, that's where we need the wisdom. Now, when communism started, those who saw the evil recognize that this is going to be a long, hard struggle. This is going to be 75 years of misery. Then Nazism became popular. And everybody said, oh, this is going to be a long time. This is going to be... One was right, the other was wrong. Communism lasted 70 years. How long did Nazism last? 4 years? Who had the wisdom to be able to distinguish between long-lasting and fast-acting? Who had the wisdom to know the Nazis are not going to be around very long? Communism. The Rebbe had that wisdom, the previous Rebbe. He declared war against communism, not against Nazism. Firstly, because how do you fight Nazism without big bombs, which we didn't have? But he knew that, no, this is a violent eruption, and it's going to be over very quickly. Communism is going to drag. That's going to pull us down. So who has that wisdom? When you say this new year is going to bring only good news, and 2 days into the new year, a tragedy happens, God forbid. Say, oh, there goes the year. Really? See, for this we need wisdom. We need to know, is this a sign of deterioration that's going to last for a generation or two? Or is this another pimple that you have to lance and squeeze out? Also, if the world is becoming better, the equal and opposite reaction on the evil side is that the evil becomes more desperate. I mean, we see this in the politics. Why are people so desperate to not allow Trump to become president? Because the evil will die if he becomes president. I mean that literally. Heads are going to roll, right? So, yeah, it makes sense. If goodness starts to approach, the evil start to panic. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the evil become desperate, like a trapped animal, because the good is becoming stronger. So, not intimidated by the bad news.
Working hard on it. I think pretty much we have to give a good shout out to everybody who's listening to us, to everybody out there in the world who are really, really, I am very impressed with the people. I really am. Everybody is really keeping it together. We have journalists in Ukraine who are extremely positive, who are extremely, they might be even more positive than us, people in Israel, and everywhere in the world. I think America got hit pretty hard, but emotionally, I think for us to feel not as the greatest world power is an emotional setback, and seeing the things happening that America does not stand for. So I think people have felt really big moral setback in the last couple of years, understanding that it's not exactly as we have thought this country is being run, and as we had hoped for, as our constitution states. So everybody went through hard times, either physically or emotionally, and they're keeping it together. So absolutely shout out to everybody else, everybody out there who are doing an amazing job keeping up the positivity. However, it's just such a yearning to get to the real truth, to the real essence, to the real things. Not just keep it together and hope for a better president or better relations with other countries or an end to the war. Of course, all those things are extremely important, and we pray and hope for them to happen right away. But
for all of that to happen, we need one major change, not 100 changes. One change and everybody falls into place and does the right thing. And that is, we're not here for ourselves, we're here for our Creator. Everyone in the world can take a little blame for that misdirection. Oh, it's all about us. It's all about you. It's all about ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves. Ungodly message. Religion is just as guilty as everybody else. So, one shift on one principle, and the world is good. And that shift is happening. So we don't need to sit and count how many disasters are going on, how many things need to be fixed, how many places need to be changed. It's all one thing. It's all one simple thing. So, being Hanukkah, I want to share an interesting consideration. We have 8 candles. And of course, 2 opinions among the sages. What do we do with these 8 candles? Do we light 8 the first night, and 7 the next night, and 6 the third night? Or do we light 1 the first night, and 2 the second night, and 3 the third night? Famous debate, 2,000 years old. The conclusion was, we light 1 candle the first night and 2 candles the second night. Okay. Never before asked the obvious question. You have a candelabra with 8 holders. Why don't you light 8 candles for 8 nights? Every night, light 8 candles. It looks good. It looks better than having empty branches on the menorah. It's an 8-day holiday, so light 8 candles for 8 days. How come nobody suggested that? It's either increase or decrease. Why not just have 8 candles? So I started thinking, what is the idea of increasing? It makes it sound like you have to have 8 candles, but you can't just go to 8. You have to work your way up. Start with 1, add an additional candle each night until you get to 8, and then you're complete. The other option is, no, you start with 8, and you fulfill your obligation until you're free of obligation. So it goes down each night a little less obligation until... That's not correct. We're talking about a mitzvah. A mitzvah is not an accumulation of goodness. It's not that when you light a candle the first night of Hanukkah, you are fulfilling 1/8 of the mitzvah. And then you add a candle each night until you end up filling the entire mitzvah when you have 8 candles. It's not like that. Lighting 1 candle is the entire mitzvah on the first day. So you don't need 8 candles to fulfill the mitzvah. 1 candle fulfills the mitzvah. So once you fulfill the mitzvah with 1 candle, how do you add, or what gets added when you light 2 candles? If 1 is perfect, how can 2 be perfecter? The answer is it's not perfecter. It's another perfect. Each night when you light a candle for that night, it's absolutely perfect. Or let's use the word infinite. The first candle has infinite value. When you light 2 candles, what is that? 2 times infinite? It's not more infinite. It's another infinite. Just like you light the candle, the Hanukkah candle, it's infinite. And then it's Shabbos, so you light the Shabbos candle, that's infinite. Not more infinite, another infinite. Every mitzvah is an infinity onto itself. Because every mitzvah is God's will. God's will is infinite. If you can do exactly what God wants you to do today, what could be better? So it's not that once you reach 8, then you have attained infinity. Every night is infinite. By the 8th night, you have 8 times infinity. 8 things you did for God, and each one of them is infinite. That's why we make a blessing every night of Hanukkah, thanking God for giving us the mitzvah. If it's all an 8-day mitzvah, then you can't make the blessing every day. You said on the first night that you're going to fulfill the mitzvah. And it takes 8 days to fulfill the mitzvah. So why are you making another blessing every night? You make another blessing because each night is perfect and infinite. That's what makes mitzvahs different from just good character. Good character is a sliding scale. You were pretty nice yesterday. Try to be a little nicer today. But being pretty nice is only pretty nice. It's not perfect. And you're going to get a little nicer today and you still won't be perfect. Who knows? Maybe by the end of your life, you will reach perfection. But with a mitzvah, every mitzvah is absolutely perfect because it's not human, it's divine. So the Greeks wanted to stop that. The Greeks wanted to convince you that the human being is infinite. Without God. Looking back at it, it's a pretty flimsy argument. How do you convince imperfect people that they're perfect? You have to become very religious about it with a leap of faith and deny all the evidence. Go to work in the concentration camp killing people and then come home feeling pious and righteous. How do you do that? It's a fanatical religion where you can believe the impossible. So, light a candle. Even if you didn't light them the first nights. Each candle is perfect.
Rabbi Fridman, is there anything to it that we have such a bouquet of positivity exactly tonight? We have still Hanukkah, the 7th candle. We have Rosh Chodesh, which is the beginning of a month, which is always a big deal. And New Year, which is celebrated by the entire world. Are those three things coming together? Is there any meaning to it or any power to it?
It's three good excuses for optimism. And three is powerful. A triple thread is a strong thread. So yes, it's all meaningful. It can't be otherwise. And even when the three occur simultaneously, that's also not just an accident and just not there's meaning to it. And part of the meaning is it's meant to encourage. It's meant to remind us things change. A year ends and a new year begins. Why assume that the new year is going to carry the same problem as the old year? A new day, a new year, a new world. It's why God created time. If there wasn't a distinction between past, present, and future, we couldn't justify optimism. But because there is a difference between past, present, and it's a huge difference, it's an unbridgeable difference. You can't go to the past. You can't reach the future. It is so different and beyond what is going on in the present. So what happened last year, that's so gone. You can't retrieve it. So it's gone. So why would you think it's continuing into the new year? Yesterday was yesterday. It's gone. It doesn't just drag on. A day begins, a day ends. It ends, it's over. Now a new day begins. Why would you think the evil or the pain or whatever it is? I think we spoke about this once. What is a chronic illness? It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't even be possible. Our cells are constantly dying and being replaced. You had a trauma yesterday. The cells of yesterday were traumatized, but they die out. So why is it a week from now you're going to still suffer from the PTSD or whatever it's called of a week ago? Those cells are gone. The traumatized cells are gone. The new cells were never traumatized. You're not the person who suffered the abuse or whatever it is, the trauma. You're not that person anymore. Why are you acting like the cells are still the same? So I don't know what it is, but there's something in the human being bigger than cells, like your mind. Your mind remembers what cells have forgotten. Well, don't. Healing comes because the cells are replaced. The old ones, the weak ones, the damaged ones, the hurt cells are gone, replaced by brand new, fresh, healthy cells. So who's dragging the old news from yesterday into today? Who's poisoning the new cells that were never traumatized? Got to stop it. Shouldn't be happening. So, in a very real sense, the passage of time produces a new creature. The new creature does not need to suffer what the old creature experienced. When we find what that switch is and turn it off, we will be very healthy people. And one of the ways of turning it off, optimism. Yesterday was yesterday, so don't keep reminding me how bad yesterday was. It's like this Yiddish joke about the chronic complainer. A guy is lost in the desert and he finally finds his way out. And he comes to civilization and he's kvetching, "Oh, am I thirsty? Oh, am I thirsty?" So they give him a drink. He finishes drinking and he says, "Oi, was I thirsty? I was so thirsty." Okay, get over it. That's optimism.
So, new year, new day, new opportunities.
New person, yes.
Rabbi Fridman, what do you think this year is going to be like?
Unbelievable. We can't even begin. Any optimistic description will fall short. Because the horrors of the last 3 years could never have been predicted. So the good that follows has to be at least as unpredictable as beyond our imagination. So whatever we think is going to happen, the economy will get better, the borders will be secure, the wars will come to an end. Yeah, so it's not good enough. But that's as far as our imagination can take us. It's going to be better than that. It's going to be better than that. We're going to get to the cause of all of these symptoms. not just remove symptoms. Yeah, the wars will stop. But whatever it is that causes war will still exist, so that another war could happen? No. The cause is going to be healed, so that another war cannot happen ever. How that happens? Well, I don't know. But I'm kind of used to surprises, so bring it on.
Rabbi Fridman, amazing. Thank you so much. It's always such an incredible opportunity for us to get that light, that optimism from you that is so necessary, and it's absolutely priceless. So thank you for, I will consider this a blessing, what you just said, for the entire universe, for the entire upcoming year. And hopefully we will see all of this come to light right away at the strike of midnight, hopefully. And Rabbi Fridman, thank you so much. We wish you and your family all the best, mainly health, so we can have more and more of you on YouTube, on different occasions, in different places, and definitely on our Radio USA. It's priceless for us to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy.
You know, we're partners with God. What does a partner do? A partner makes the other partner successful. We have to make God successful. A better world is God's success. It's His creation, and when His creation becomes better, He is succeeding. Nothing short of that. We are making God successful.
May we be very, very good at it. Get better and
Amen.
better.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Fridman, and have an amazing rest of the holidays and Happy New Year. Rabbi always wished everybody a Happy New Year. I was just in OL and he was giving out the dollars on Hanukkah and wishing everybody a Happy New Year. So Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, and Chodesh Tov to you, your family, and thank you so much. All the best. Ну, а всем, кто нас слушал, большое вам спасибо за то, что вы есть, за то, что вы с нами, за то, что вы сильные, хорошие, хотите хорошего, помогаете другим в этом, добиваетесь и помогаете другим добиваться. И вот как Рабби Фридман сказал, мы все вместе делаем этот мир лучше, так что дай Бог, чтобы мы увидели это все уже прямо сейчас, наяву, все изменения, все позитивные возможности, которые нам предназначены, чтобы мы уже все это видели прямо сейчас, прямо вот как только пробьет 12. Поздравляю всех с Новым годом, с Ханукой и со всем хорошим и добрым. Всего доброго. До следующего года.